I'm going to show you how to write the best letter to Santa ever. The mistake that most people make is they say something like, hey Santa, I really want this thing. Please, 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 please get it for me. But that is a massive mistake. But if you want the really good stuff, you're going to have to take a lesson from professional marketing copywriters. And that lesson is this. You need to tell Santa not why you want something, but why he, Santa, wants to give you something. Why his life would change in some immeasurable way because he gave you the presents that you want. And this year, Daddy wants an A10 warthog. And you know what? I'm looking under the tree, and nothing under the tree so far looks like it's an A10 warthog. So I'm gonna have to write an emergency letter this December 24th outside of regular programming, because I figured, you know what, a lot of people may not actually watch this because it's Christmas Eve. Let's do something different. Let's write an emergency letter to Santa. So let's start. What do we need to tell Santa in order to get this? Well, like I said, first things first, we should not be doing what I'm doing or what most people do and saying, hey, please, pretty, please give me an A10 warthog. We need to say, hey, Santa, what do you want? Why are you realistically incentivized to give this to me? Why would your life change? And so I think, one, we need to get clear on the offer. Because most people are learning copywriting to actually sell something, I think, you know what, let's make this kind of like an e-commerce email. Let's do this like it's a BOGO, right? So Santa's gonna buy himself an A10 warthog, and as a bonus, he's gonna get a second one that he can send to a friend. That's not an entirely uncommon e-commerce offer, especially this time of year. If you have something that you really only need one of, but maybe multiple people you know would be interested, that's a pretty good offer. So this year, the manufacturer is offering an A10 warthog, buy one, get one. And so I need to convince Santa that he wants an A10 warthog to deliver presents, and that I'm just going to be a happy byproduct of it, right? You can give me the second one, no questions asked. So what does Santa want? Santa wants to deliver faster, maybe access war zones. There are places where maybe reindeer, he doesn't want to risk the reindeer, right? Don't risk the reindeer. What does Santa want? Santa wants to decrease overhead, give the elves a day off, and get more time back with Mrs. Claus, right? What problems is Santa facing? Yeah, that's kind of the war zone thing. It's everything restated, right? So too slow, war zone, danger, cost, bad work-life balance. And why would Santa object? Well, obviously we would say cost. He might say perception, perception. Now, Santa, or Saint Nicholas, is officially a canonized saint, and so is supposed to bring peace and goodwill towards men. Maybe the A10 warthog is bad for his image a little bit. So that's worth considering. And then for me, I think that he might object to giving a random civilian something like that. So random, oh my gosh, civilian, a weapon of war, right? Not a pilot. Both pretty good objections. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna decide how are we actually going to handle these objections and talk about the things that Santa wants. I think I wanna focus on, I'm gonna focus on the war zones. It obviously aligns with this message. So we're gonna say bad deliveries in war zones. So let's think about some actual war zones. We're gonna say Russia, Ukraine, Venezuela. Don't risk the reindeer, decrease overhead. Elves, the reindeer are at risk. Elves are overworked. Mrs. Claus wants you home. or ho, ho, home. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but it is what it is. All right, what does Santa want? Deliver, yeah. I think that's pretty good. What problems is Santa, I'm just gonna drop that in case I need to reference it later on the next page. Okay, what problems is Santa facing? I think we're good on all of that. Cost, here's the thing about cost. Cost is almost always an objection. Even if you have a free product, right? Time is also a cost. So your job in any situation is to build value, and the more value you have, the less cost is relevant. And so you're talking to a cost price point is rarely the right decision unless you're at the very end after you've built a bunch of benefits in like a whole webinar, and then at the end you can go and here's the cost. But when you really think about it, you're getting all these benefits which will pay for themselves many times over the cost. You can briefly deal with it. Most of the time we don't want to talk to cost, we want to talk to benefits, to positive things that are going to change. So reindeer at risk, elves worked, you're too slow, the reindeer are too soft, right? So that's too slow, war zone danger. The sleigh is too inconspicuous. I spelled it right. All right. Why would Santa object? Yeah, so we're gonna have to deal with the objections at the end. Cost perception, yeah. I'm gonna have to deal with that at the end, with those objections. Okay, so now what we need to do is figure out the exact form that we're taking here. Typically, this would be an email, right? Or a landing page, or an ad on Facebook. Well, Santa isn't necessarily doing all those things. We know that Santa responds to less letters. So this is a direct mail campaign, something that we don't do as often today, but is still incredibly effective when we do. So let's think through this. So I'm gonna have to write this up. I'm gonna have to smack a bunch of stamps on it because it's late. I gotta get it to go fast. And so let's think about getting attention. This is the most important part of marketing most of the time, because it doesn't matter how good the rest of the letter is if the letter never gets opened. So let's think of this like it's a subject line. What does Santa want most? How can we come in from a different angle that kind of gets his attention? One thing that comes to mind is presents going faster, right? But we want it to relate to the A10 warthog a little bit. So I think I'm gonna go presents go burr, right? That's the sound that the warthog's guns make. I think that's a good option. We might also try something, and we're not gonna get an A/B test here because we don't have a huge audience to go to. We have one person we're sending it to. Presents go burr, we could say, Ukrainian child needs you, right? I like to write funny, so I'm gonna go with the first one instead of the second one. But you know, depending on the angle you wanted to go with, you could do something different. So I'm gonna go presents go burr, and I'm gonna write that when I actually make it out. I'm gonna say to Santa Claus, to the North Pole, and then up in the corner I'm gonna write presents go burr, and maybe draw something on the side, smack a bunch of stamps on the other side. Presents go burr. All right. Dear Santa, A10 warthog, please. Well, that's not gonna fly. So the final thing we have to do is pick the format. We already said it's a letter. What is the format of the letter? Are we gonna do a hook, story, offer? Are we gonna do a before, after, bridge? Let's think through that here. Hook, story, offer is one of my favorites. Problem, agitate, solve is another one of my favorites. I think that one probably lends itself pretty well here. So we're gonna, because problem, we have deliveries we can't make in war zones, right? Dear Santa. So let's start with a problem. How are we gonna state this problem here? We've got wars in Russia, Ukraine, and Venezuela, reindeer, so those are all problems, right? Every single one of those is a problem. And generally, when you start a letter, if you start with a whole paragraph at first, we're talking about getting attention, right? You want to start short and hook people in. So that means your first line, you know, modern context, 3 to 5 words, 1 to 2 is even better. Like if we started, ouch, presents go burr. So war zones, right? Boom. That's the sound of I think I want like a whee, like a whistle. I want a whew. I don't know how to write that. And this is an onomatopoeia start, which is one of the fun ways to start an email. Whew. I'm thinking of like bullets whizzing by. Bang. That's the sound you hear just before a 7.62 round flies past your sleigh over Kiev. Okay, so now we've done problem, right? This year, now we need to do what's called, I call it a whiff'em. It's a what's in it for me. We need to make sure we have one of those in the first 3 to 4 lines. We're already at line 3. So if we're not doing it this line, we have to do it soon. I'm gonna try and do it now, right? Bang. That's the sound you hear just before 7.62 round flies just past your sleigh over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars and insurgencies. ... I want to help you. No. I'm going to help you get back on track, deliver on time, right? I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. Now we need to handle some more problems, I think, because I want to say you need a warthog, right? So when blank, blank, blank has got you down, nothing clear through those problems like, heavy artillery rounds. Not even artillery. Bang, that's the sound you hear just before 7.62 round flies past your sleigh over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars and insurgencies. Wars, narco-terrorists, and insurgencies. Is that? But I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. When a 1998 Toyota Tacoma with 5 guys and a heavy machine gun stands between you and little Timmy's house, which is not, let's see, it would probably be, little Vlad's house. Vladimir's house. When a 1998 Toyota Tacoma with 5 guys and a heavy machine gun stands between you and little Vladimir's house. Now that's getting too long. Clear the way with an A10 warthog. All right, so now we need to agitate the problem. I'm getting too close and too far into the pitch without dealing with the agitate, right? That's the sound of 7.62 round flies past your sleigh over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and insurgencies, but I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. Let's agitate. All right, so let's go up in difficulty, right? We have when Rudolph is getting spooked by gunfire. When Rudolph is getting spooked by gunfire, when the elves are overworked and Mrs. Claus is feeling neglected. When a 1998 Toyota Tacoma with 5 guys and a heavy machine gun stands between you and little Vladimir's house, clear the way with an A10 warthog. All right, so we've already handled several of those. You're too slow, the reindeer are too soft, right? We kind of already did the reindeer are too soft with Rudolph, right? Clear the one with, let's face it. Let's face it. All right, so something I like to do is vary my line length, and you'll see it's like, kind of short, long, longer, shorter, longer, even longer, shorter. I don't want to do another short one right here. I want to go long again. Because that makes clear the way with an A10 warthog stand out more. So let's face it. Let's keep it all in one line and not bold it. Let's face it. The sleigh is too slow. Your magic sleigh is outdated and too slow to outdated, slow, and seriously in need of a good offense. I think we've hit everything here. Cost, perception, random civilian war. Okay, so we need to make sure that we still do that. But problem, agitate, solve. So I'm solving it, right? I've already kind of gotten there. Now I'm just trying to bolster it, right? Let's face it. Your magic sleigh is outdated, slow, and seriously in need of a good offense. And let's handle his objection, right? Cost, perception. The perception. It may not, and one thing when you're handling objections is sometimes you want to tell people, no, that's not a problem. Typically, that's not a great way to handle objections because people think, yes, it is a problem. So instead of saying, hey, this actually is your image, you say, it's not your image, but it's even worse. It may not be your usual style, but neither is showing up to Vlad's house full of bullet holes. Or worse yet, not showing up at all. Right? We're keeping it nice and short. That's the sound you hear just before 762 round flies past your head over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and insurgencies. But I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. When Rudolph is getting spooked by gunfire, when the elves are overworked, and Mrs. Claus is feeling neglected, when a 1998 Toyota Tacoma with 5 guys and a heavy machine gun stands between you and little Vladimir's house, clear the way with an A10 warthog. Let's face it, your magic sleigh is outdated, slow, and seriously in need of a good offense. It may not be your usual style, but neither is showing up to Vlad's house full of bullet holes, or worse yet, not showing up at all. So we've gone problem, agitate, solve. We're agitating again. Now it's time to permanently solve it and say, let's get you an A10 warthog, right? I talked to the manufacturers and they've got a great deal for you. This year, warthogs, they're not caps, they're running a BOGO warthog deal for Christmas. Okay. Click here, which is bad. Click here. Okay, I have way too much highlighted. Click here. Yeah, maybe we'll sit over here so you can enjoy my fire as I write. Click here, and then PS. It just so happens I really want a warthog. Nothing would make me happier than pilot's lessons. Let's handle an objection there. And an A10 warthog this year as a thank you. Warthog this year. As a thank you, I'd be happy helping out in the Western Hemisphere next Christmas Eve. Okay. So we used our PS to do a little final objection handling, right? This random guy, he can't do that. Maybe I don't want to give it to him. I make my request and I say, by the way, I'm actually going to make it even easier for you to deliver presents. Not only are you going to have an A10 warthog, but you're going to have another one of Santa's little helpers, right? Okay, so in general, we're doing pretty well here. And normally I would sleep on this. I'm not going to sleep on this. And so now I have to edit. Typically I go through, it's best not to get dragged down as you're writing with editing. Take a break, highlight things along the way that you're like, that's not good enough, and then come back. So here we are. I'm pretty happy with it overall. This line was getting a little wordy when because I took so long to say the 1998 Toyota Tacoma. When a 1998, okay, let's just take Tacoma out. When a 1998 Toyota, when 5 guys in a 1998 Tacoma heavy machine guns, when 5 guys in a 98 Toyota, sometimes it's good to read these out loud to really get a feel for it, right? When 5 guys in a 98 Toyota and heavy machine guns stand between you and little Vlad's house. Just gonna... When 5 guys in a 98 Toyota with heavy machine guns stand between you and little Vlad's house, clear the way with an A10 warthog. Let's face it, your magic sleigh is outdated, slow, and seriously in need of a good offense. It may not be your usual style, but neither is showing up to Vlad's house full of bullet holes, or worse yet, not showing up at all. I talked to the manufacturer this year. They've got a great deal for you. This year, they're running a BOGO warthog deal. Make sure that's bold for Christmas. Claim your, in your CTA, I say claim your. That's not always a good idea. Often claim my is better. You, the writer, attempted to write your, because that's the way you've been talking so far, but people are thinking in terms of the action, and my typically works better. So claim my warthog. It's active. It's got a good verb in there. Just saying click here is so weak. You typically have to throw something else at it. So overall, feeling pretty good. I don't have time to sleep on this because it's Christmas Eve. My letter's got to go out now. It's 7:35 a.m. My time. So if I want to get this tonight, I've better go fast, right? So let's give it one more read through and see if there's anything else I want to change. Dear Santa, bang. That's the sound you hear just before 7.62 round flies before half a dozen 7.62 rounds fly past your sleigh over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and insurgencies. But I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. When Rudolph is spooked by gunfire. Okay, so what I'm not liking is all this is kind of all written long form, and there's no breaks. So something I talk about a lot in my courses, by the way, if you want to continue on, we're going to talk about short emails, long emails, landing pages. We're going to talk about VSLs and webinars. We go through, time-tested theory. So we're talking about how to write simply, how to get attention. One thing you'll notice here, I'm looking at words like insurgencies. I'm like, is that too big of a word, right? Maybe I don't want that word on there. So that's part of my review process typically, is to say, you want to write shorter sentences use shorter words, and use words that are very evocative to evoke emotions, right? And so we're gonna go through and try and do that. But one thing that I do a lot of is I talk about the design of copywriting. So as you're going through here, as you're scanning through, I see that I need to clear the way with an A10 warthog, but everything here is kind of doing the same thing. But theoretically, but I'm gonna help you deliver it faster than ever, throw a colon in there and slap some bullets there. Now, we have a little bit of a visual break in there. Now it's easier to see, it feels like when you open up this letter, I only have 3 or 4 lines that I have to read before this thing. It gives you a visual break in a way that actually compels you to read in a way that you may not normally, right? So I like that. If I were technically like really getting into this, I'd make sure that there was like a little bit of a break there because I think that's too crowded together, but that's really getting into it, right? All right. This year in delivering millions, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and insurgencies. Unfortunately, I don't know that I have better words than that. I recommend people typically not use AI when they don't need to, but this is great use. The sources, it's just about as good as it gets. So other words for insurgency, thinking of types of wars, military contractors would face, near synonyms work too. Rebellion, uprisings, guerrilla war. Yeah, see, all those are good. When you're facing wars, narco-terrorists, and revolts. I like revolts. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and revolts. I like narco-terrorists. It's actually kind of funny in this context, right? The idea of Santa dealing with narco-terrorists, right? Let's read through it one more time from the top. I think we're probably getting pretty done. Bang, that's the sound you hear just before half a dozen 7.62 rounds fly past your sleigh over Kiev. This year, in addition to delivering millions of presents, you have to deal with wars, narco-terrorists, and revolts. But I'm going to help you deliver those presents faster than ever. When Rudolph is getting spooked by gunfire, when the elves are overworked and Mrs. Claus is feeling neglected, when 5 guys in a 98 Toyota with heavy machine guns stand between you and little Vlad's house, clear the way with an A10 warthog. Let's face it, your magic sleigh is outdated, slow, and seriously in need of a good offense. It may not be your usual style, but neither is showing up to Vlad's house full of bullet holes, or worse yet, not showing up at all. I talked to the manufacturers, they've got a great deal for you this year. They're running a BOGO Warthog deal for Christmas. Claim my Warthog. It just so happens, nothing would make me happier than pilot lessons and an A10 Warthog this year. As a thank you, I'd be happy to help out in the Western Hemisphere next Christmas Eve. Claim my warthog. Yeah. From your pal, David. Which is not typical where you put a PS. It flowed better there, but that's just not where you put a PS, right? Claim your warthog. Happy, Merry Christmas to all. Hope you have a good night. I think I need one more thing. This year they're running a BOGO Warthog deal for Christmas, and they've already got one with a milk warmer and cookies ready to go. Yeah, I like it. Easy peasy. So, as you can see, the main thing that we did, it sounds that the whole letter is telling Santa why he wants an A10 Warthog. And then at the very end, I just throw in, hey, by the way, if you do this, it'll be great for me, right? That's that's the big thing. And I've done this with the manufacturers. They're already putting this all together. It's so easy for him to give me this warthog because it's actually solving all of his problems. And in fact, by giving it to me, he's gonna extra solve his problems because I'm gonna help him out in the Western Hemisphere. So let's say you're waking up this morning and you haven't sent a letter and you need to go ahead. And if that letter happens to be about wanting to learn copywriting or become a better marketer this year, then check out my free 63-hour copywriting course. And specifically for marketers and people who want to, freelance or, they're professional marketers to learn the ins and outs of very, very good writing that captivates people. So if you're interested in learning all that, if you want to make 2026 your year so that you can master copywriting, become a better marketer, start that business you've always wanted, make $100,000 or more as a freelance copywriter, then go ahead and check that course out totally free. What better time to get started than now? Go ahead and write your letter. I've already got the hookup with Santa. I'm gonna be sending these out soon. So if you do this practice, let me know, put your letter below. I'll make sure Santa gets it. Or if you just wanna write what you would want for Christmas, go ahead and put that in the comment section below as well. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. Thanks for watching.